Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
And we're back. Okay.
oh, sweet Jesus.
Let's see.
Yeah, this is going to take a minute. So yeah, we're here anyway.
Did we lose
Is anybody
Tyler?
out there?
No, we have Tyler. I'm just going to wait for a minute until everybody figures out that we're back on a different stream. So, damn it.
You're back. Okay, so
it
Nick
was-
Hildebrand can find
It was
us.
going so good. All right, so listen, let's get into that since we didn't make it the whole way through the commercial break. The thing Heather was talking about with Jack Daniels and our new series, The Destinations, it is really badass. Like we're so stoked about it. We can't wait to get to the next destination. The Monkey was saying that possibly we could do this to the Florida Keys,
Which
and do a
I've
whole
never been
piece.
to the Keys.
And
I'm sure
that'd be a
there's-
great destination. So we're looking for ideas from everybody to tell us where would you like us to go and do the kind of documentary that we did on Jack Daniels.
Is there a rum distillery?
Yeah, let's take a break from the alcohol. Obviously,
Hey, I
We
can
come back from
sample.
Jack
There's
Daniels, we're
nothing wrong
crashing
with
the show.
sampling.
all right. So tonight's guest, Tyler, we were talking in pre-show, man, how funny it is. They're celebrating 20 years this year with Lowbrow, and it seems crazy because, just a minute ago we were all kids, but he was super young, and Lowbrow just came out of nowhere, man, and like a rocket ship, it went through everything, and all of a sudden we're sitting here today, and it's literally 2 decades later. It's become a staple in everything in the chopper world. God, I can't remember a bike in the last 10 that I didn't order a ship pile of parts from Lowbrow for my build. So it's going to be good to have him come on tonight and tell us his story a little bit. Let's see if we can keep from running this one off the tracks and get Tyler on.
Just Hanging Out in the Shop is brought to you by Spectro Oils. Made in the USA since 1966, the best oil on planet Earth.
Tyler, isn't live fun?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Dude, I'm so sorry. It's
No problem.
been a while since we've crashed a show though, so that's pretty good. It's probably all the people that are waiting for you
I
to
know
come
Tyler
on,
broke the internet.
right?
I don't know about that.
So-
Yeah, coming live from my bedroom. My kids are sleeping, so I'm trying to be I talk loud, so I'm trying not to talk too loud. So I'll try and be chill.
Oh, you're good, man. First off, we all want to congratulate you on both 20 years and a brand new Bonneville record. So let's start with the 20-year part. Like, how do you process the idea that Lowbrow has been a thing for 2 decades now?
Man, it's crazy. Time flies. Like everyone knows, the older you get, it just flies by. But I don't know, man. We kind of just do what we do, keep our head down. I don't know. We have fun, designing chopper parts, racing, living life, and here we are. I never thought. I started Lowbrow for money for motorcycle parts and to get tattooed and to travel. And that's what I still spend my money on. So it worked out pretty well. But, it was a side gig. For 5 years, I was a sign maker. For 10 years, and half of that time I was doing Lowbrow, like evenings, weekends, out of my house. And never had a goal to have like anything like this. I never would have imagined Lowbrow would have grown how it has. But I credit, I've got like the best crew. I work with the best people, and we are all passionate and care about what we do. And I'm like super pumped on all the cool parts we're coming up with. We've got a lot of stuff we're working on right now, and I don't know. It's kind of easy because it's a hobby and passion. It just happens that I can make a living from it. So we're never lacking work to do or ideas or new parts or whatever. And it feels good to see our stuff all over the world now.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that building, man.
Yeah,
That's
right.
incredible. Cause I remember super early on, like you guys would do, tech articles here and there for us. And like, it was this little garage space, it seemed like. And I think at the time it was like under your house or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I worked out of, I started in a bedroom in my duplex in Parma, Ohio, which is like a suburb of Cleveland. And then expanded into the basement, expanded into the one-car garage, and then a few years later moved. I had a house out in the country, 850 square foot house and 3,000 square foot garage outbuilding, and that's why I bought the place and ran Lowbrow out of the back for, I don't know, probably 5-6 years until we got our first warehouse, which was like a old truck service building. It would rain and the roof leaked like crazy, and it worked great though. It was just interesting. Now the building we're in, I still call it the new building, and we've been there 8 years and put an addition on 2 years ago, and I'm real proud of it. It's super nice, and it's a great place to work, and it gives us all the room we need to do all the things we do.
Right on. One of the things we should definitely talk about for a minute here is the fact that you guys almost immediately signed on to help us out with SmokeOut when we started working on bringing SmokeOut back to the Rowan County Fairgrounds. And this year, even more importantly, you stepped up in such a big way to help us with the Tankful project that Heather puts together. And that meant the world to us.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Thanks to you guys donating those tanks. And I'm not going to lie, when Jeff initially reached out and said, hey, we want to be a part of this, I was like, all right, people don't usually volunteer to give that much. We were able to send $20,000 to Meals on Wheels because of those tanks this year. So thank you so much. That's a lot of food for a lot of food insecure seniors. So that makes a difference.
Yeah, we're happy to be even a tiny little part of that, and we're always down to support. I mean, what you guys do is, helping this community, which same as what we do, right? It's like keeping people interested in motorcycling, custom bikes, giving them the, helping them with information and support and how to build bikes, and then, using that to help their communities. And I don't know, that's great. I look like we sell motorcycle parts, but what we really try and do is help people realize that their dream might be, riding the chopper to go camping with their friends or going cross country. Or actually, I just today got a email where a guy watched our YouTube build series, Saturday Sportster. I think he said he's 62 and he just built his first chopper, which is an Ironhead Sportster. Sent us a photo of him riding down the street with a huge smile on his face. And, that makes us feel super good that, that's why we do it, and it feels good to spread that knowledge. And I'm glad to be able to send you guys tanks. It's like the least we can do, and to hear that it raised that much money, that's awesome. It shows the strength of our community.
Well, and I got to talk about that for a minute since you brought it up too, because, as good as you guys do with parts and, designing parts and passing stuff along from everybody that might not be able to do that and figure it out for themselves, you could just as well be an entire media company with the amount of material that you guys are putting out. I know in the one picture that we scrolled by, Mikey was sitting there holding a YouTube award, and there's no shortage of a reason why. Like you said, that Sportster series was incredible. Your Bonneville series is incredible. Like you guys really, really do some great work on this channel. We're going to put the link up for your YouTube channel, but man, it's so great to see somebody that has so much passion for this stuff that it doesn't just stop at the end of the day when they close the door to their business.
Yeah, appreciate it. And kudos to Mikey. Mikey Arnold is our videographer and photographer at Lowbrow. Also, before he worked at Lowbrow, he and I and our friend Jesse at Gasbox started Fuel Cleveland together. But Mikey's super skilled photographer, and his videography, I think, is like second to none. He's amazing at telling stories, putting a story together, not just making a video and putting some good clips together, but telling stories with his videos. And whether it's a tech video or it's something like our Bonneville Racing or it's an event coverage video, he puts the heart and soul into a ton of effort, a ton of time, but it really shows. And I'm proud of that. I mean, we spend a lot of time and money making free content, but one, it's fun. If it's super entertaining to come together and show people how to build an Ironhead chopper, or how tips for racing a Bonneville, or go what this chopper show is like. But that's kind of core to our business too. So I've spent a lot of money over the years making videos like that, but I just know they don't make money, right? But it just helps support Lowbrow, which helps us pay to do things like make more videos and support the SmokeOut, and rising tide floats all boats. I say that frequently, but that's what it is. It's like we also support each other, and things like video content is something we've just done a long time, but I feel that's something that helps get the word out, teach people about how to build bikes, let them know what's going on, let them know they're not alone out there in their interest in what they're doing, and brings people together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things about Lowbrow, number one, you're all involved. You're all deeply passionate about what you do. So that makes the experience with Lowbrow even better. I mean, when people purchase things, you're all, you all know what people want when they call. You can answer the questions. It's a super easy company to deal with. It's to me one of the premier companies to grab parts from. And information. I mean, you guys pump out so much information, it's off the charts. And the dog looks super comfortable on the bed behind you. Just saying. I mean,
yes, he does.
He's living it.
Yeah, my teenage daughter just got home a little bit ago from a haunted house, and she jumped up and ran off, but she's chilling again. As far as the information or the passion and whatnot, it's absolutely true. I don't have a motorcycle business because that's what I chose to do to make money. That was what I'm into, or is what I'm into, and what I do. And it just so happens that I'm lucky enough that I've made a living doing motorcycle stuff. And that goes for everyone at Lowbrow. We're passionate about what we do, have fun, care about our company culture, care about our awesome customer culture. And I don't know, man, it's easy when we're building a bike, like when I'm working on my bike and I need this part and it doesn't exist, it's like, oh, well, other people probably need this. It makes it really easy to know or to help ideas for parts and troubleshooting and what tech info we need to put out there, because it's the things when I get stuck, or when Mikey gets stuck, or when Kyle Shaw is building his iron edge chopper and he says, hey, why don't we have this intake manifold gasket set? And we're like, oh shit, we got a little gap there. It's just because we're all in it and living it. We are our customers, so it makes it really easy to support our customers. We're all doing the same thing.
And that goes back to something I say all the time about the motorcycle industry. Like people who try to come into this thing from the outside and they don't understand, it's almost impervious to that. Like if you're not living it, there's almost no way to be genuine, to realize, like you said, what those opportunities are, what people actually need, what they're actually talking about. You have to be part of this. It's not something that you can approach on a superficial level. But you guys, I mean, what was the point? What was the point, man? Because you said at the beginning it was kind of, your side hustle or whatever. What was the point you got to where you were like, okay, oh shit, this is going to a whole other level?
It was, I was a sign maker. I was self-employed, so I worked out of my house and then out of the same building in my backyard as Lowbrow. So I was spending my days designing logos, lettering work vans, lettering shop windows, making banners, anything with lettering on it, And it got to the point where I was spending kind of equal time between sign making and Lowbrow. And I started actually making money with Lowbrow and putting money back into inventory and parts and things like that. And it was just ended up getting to the point where it was like a tipping point. And I took it seriously. It was a long time ago now, so it's kind of hard for me to remember. But the fact is, I just emailed, hit up all my sign company customers. I had a lot of long-time customers I did for over a decade, and said, well, hey, I'm closing up shop. Here's someone else you can reach out to. Here's your art files for your logos and stuff. And that was it. But I made it a real concise decision. And at that point, I was 5 years in on Lowbrow, and I was still working full time aside from that. And something's got to give. I started Lowbrow when I was 24. I'm 44 now, and I had my oldest daughter. I was 29, and that was the other thing. Is you have a kid, and it changes the amount. I can't work 80 hours a week anymore, and be a good dad. So I had to pick and choose. And making signs is great and all, but it's not. It's not nearly as fun as
wasn't quite
chopper parts and riding motorcycles and racing and all that.
So going on to the racing thing, because this has been, for somebody that has such an emotional and personal connection to Bonneville, it's been such a great thing to watch over the years. Like you have not been one of the people that goes out there, gets a little bit of the experience and then it fades away. It's been a part of your story for as long as the shop has been. And seeing you guys this year going out there and the excitement that surrounded it and everything that went on, and then to see you set another record, it was an incredible story.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was so I've been racing since 2010 at Bonneville, and this bike that I'm actively campaigning now is a dual engine 1950 Triumph. I built it with a couple friends in 2020, 2021. In that photo there was Tim Fiorucci at Fiorucci Fabrication. He did most of the fabrication on the bike. I build the engines and I tune it and ride it. Help with basic design. But as far as the actual fabrication, Tim's the guy. So he built the rest of the bike. And then Dawi Soatenga is an engineer who helped with some of the CAD, or did the CAD design early on. It was probably a year and a half of CAD design before we actually started the bike. But built that bike in 2021, and I took it out to Bonneville Speed Week. Did 148 miles an hour the first time I ever rode the bike, and that was on a 151 record. Went out again, was at 153 miles an hour coming into the 3 mile, the timing light, which would be like national record. I'm fucking pumped. And all of a sudden into a full tank slapper, low side of the bike at 153. And I couldn't believe it. It was like, fuck, not a good feeling. Long story short, man, I walked away with maybe some broken stuff in my hand. It was like, I didn't even have to go to the hospital. It was pretty mild. And rebuilt the bike. I was scared of it, after that.
That's what I wanted to ask you right there.
ECTA.
That's what I wanted to ask you right there, just to break in. How do you even come back from that? How do you come back from that kind of speed coming off of that motorcycle? How do you look at it again and go, okay, I'm going to go faster this time?
Yeah, it was I'm a pretty solid guy when it comes to risk, and I'm not dumb, but I'm good with calculated risk, so, but after that, I was scared of it a bit. And the problem is everything was great until it wasn't. It wasn't like I didn't have I did end up tracking down some issues to my fault to torquing the rear wheel carriers, and I had a bound bearing that I believe ended up causing this tank slapper. But anyway, I took it bit by bit. So we rebuilt the bike. It wasn't that badly damaged, which is also pretty mind-blowing. But took it to Arkansas, the ECTA, so it was like a standing mile, but on the concrete, and did two or three events there over a year and a half, but ramped it up, went and did 100 miles an hour, did 120, did 140, then started going full speed, and did a bunch of work on the bike, better steering damper, way beefier front end, a GSXR front wheel, basically over-engineered the front end. The old front end was I was doing 1960s drag race stuff, and it was cool, but it wasn't stout enough. But man, it was just time. It was working with my crew, coming up with safety checklists, becoming learning to trust that bike again. But I went out to Bonneville in September, just last month, and my goal was to do one run and break the record, and I did it. That was pretty good to say. I went out there and ran 157 miles an hour on the first pass, first qualifying record of the event, and backed it up that afternoon, and I had an average about just under 155, and there's more to come from that bike. So I've been running it, but it should be just on gas too, no nitrous, nothing fancy, but just gas. It should be in low 160s, and then potentially putting nitrous on it into fairing and getting high 160s, 170s or something. So still playing around with it, but there's a few more national records I want to break with that bike for sure.
So I'm going to ask this next question for a friend. How do you How do you mitigate the anxiety that your family must have, your entire family?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
You know what, man? I've got the best wife in the world, I'll tell you. She was there. So I've got two daughters. And when I crashed in 2021, it makes me emotional thinking about it. When I crashed in 2021, at that time 3-year-old was at the line with my wife. You know, whatever, I take off. They think everything's fine. They're in a van with my crew, which is like all my best friends, and my wife, who's also my best friend, and my 3-year-old, and they're driving down the looking for me, right? And they see an ambulance and they see a bike on its side, and they, you know, my wife later tells me like they didn't even equate that could be me, and they had no idea I wrecked, and we were having issues with the CB radio in our van, and here I'm in this ambulance, and you know, they checked me out, my shield ripped off my helmet. I had salt all in my eyes and stuff. So they were kind of cleaning my face up and bandaging my right hand up and stuff was swollen. And I'm like, hey, I'm okay. So radio and tell my crew I'm okay. I don't want them to worry. Like, I'm fine, you know? And they never got that message. So I come out of this ambulance like 10 minutes later and my wife comes running out just a wreck. You know, she was like, I thought you were dead. I had no idea. And later talking to her and talking to my friends, it was just like, kind of like the worst case scenario. You know, I was sitting in this van, literally having no idea if I was dead or alive, and my 3-year-old's in there saying, you know, "Daddy's dead. Daddy fell off his motorcycle." They're super heavy. So my wife's very supportive. I wouldn't say that she loves that I race because it's part of who I am, and if I didn't do what I do, I wouldn't be who I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so like,
absolutely.
She's very happy when the racing events are done for the year, you know? But my wife and daughters come with me to Bonneville and they're supportive. My wife's part of the crew. My girls are part of the crew and they're right there with me. And after that wreck, I mean, it taught me a lot. I've had 2 wrecks at Bonneville, and I've learned a lot from each of them. And now I make decisions that are much safer than I would have in the past. Because 1, I don't want to kill myself, and 2, I don't want to hurt myself or kill myself and have my wife and daughters have to deal with that. You know, right. So it's just calculated risk. You know,
I get it. So Chris does Bonneville and he does Sunday Speed Racing, and he did Bonneville first, and I can remember it was my first time out on the salt ever. He had been going for years, but he had never run a bike out there, and I remember waiting with him on the line, and I was terrified, and I was just like, okay, I'm like, because if anything happens to you, like all of this comes to a screeching halt. But then when he was about to go, I looked at it and I don't know why. I looked at him, I'm like, hey, like if you're gonna do this, do it with everything you have and make it count. Like just like make it count. Go ahead and do it. And he did, and he loved it and blew the bike up and whatever. But then when it came to Sons of Speed, you know, he's out there on a 100-year-old motorcycle with clincher tires.
Jesus.
And it was the same thing. I was scared, and, you know, there would be a wreck, and, you know, of course, everybody slows down and comes in. And when I didn't see him right away, I'd get nervous, but I did the same thing when it was his time to go out. I'm like, if you're going to do this, make it count. Like, but, you know, give it everything you have. Like,
and I don't say this with any bravado or like any bullshit like that, and not to be grisly, but for people that are lifelong motorcycle people, if it's going to happen, like right. if I am going to go out Bonneville, like I'd rather that than somebody comes into my office someday and finds me dead in my chair.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's just it. Like the last time he raced, and it's just because, you know, we moved and there's been a whole series of things. There was 2 pretty gruesome wrecks on the track when we were there. And he came to me as they were cleaning up. He's like, do you want me to quit now? And I looked right at him. I said, I will never ask you to quit. I won't do that. That's up to you. I said, because if that is how you were going to go out, at least I know you're going out doing something that you absolutely love and are passionate about. So I will
We
never take
did
that
make
away
them.
from you.
We did make them upgrade the insurance policy.
Well, that's
Oh,
what
I
I was
had
going to
already
say.
done that.
That's when I found out that she had another portfolio off to the side. I had no idea until that moment. But
Yeah, well, I'm sure at that point people saw Tyler after that wreck and had said, oh my God, all that from the accident. He said, no, just the hand, a black eye, and a missing tooth are from my wife.
With racing and with anything like that, you gotta, there's no point in living if you're taking it too easy, and a mutual friend, Doug Wathke, he had said, be safe, have fun. He said, well, you usually can't do one and the other,
Right.
So I think with motorcycling, and especially with racing, it's, I ride motorcycles because it's dangerous and it's fun. I'm not riding them. I putt around once in a while, but it's, it's a thrill. So,
yeah, Doug's
I don't know what
actually
to say besides that. Like,
Doug's
racing's
actually
fun
on
because
tonight
it's
too.
going fast and pushing a machine to its limits is scary. That being said, with Bonneville, honestly, it's safer than riding on the street anyway. So I don't view racing inherently as dangerous, except for, the faster I go, it starts getting more serious, But I'd rather fall off a bike at Bonneville than hit a telephone pole on the street.
True.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
True.
Absolutely.
Because at Bonneville, you have the proper gear. You're prepared.
Yeah.
Typically, if you're out on the street on your chopper, you're not wearing full leathers and the whole deal.
No.
And you don't have any other factors that you can't control.
So,
Right.
tell me what's going on in this picture.
Tell us about the golden ticket.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's something that I think is pretty cool. And we've been trying to get the word out. I think people know about it, but maybe not. So being 20 years in, I think it was late last year. We're talking about, hey, we want to do something to give back to people to celebrate the anniversary of Lowbrow being 20 years. So came up with this idea to give away what we call a golden ticket. It's actually aluminum with some bronze in it and copper, but our friends at Martian Machine cast these for us. But we made 20 of them, and we're putting one in a random order every month, and then giving away some at shows. So we gave one away at Fuel Cleveland. I gave one away at Bonneville on the Sol. But just in random orders or people we think just kind of embody, what we do, or someone's super passionate and that are a doer, think would be a good recipient, gets one of these and they get $1,000 Lowbrow gift card along with it. So we're giving away 20 grand this year. And
That's
I think
awesome.
we're through number 13. So we're doing 7 still, which if you're counting the months here, we're going to be giving away 7 of these in the next 2.5 months. So we have this big sale, the Totally Dope Super Sale coming up. It's a 2-day thing. We're doing one each day, going in a random order. We're doing one still here at the end of October, going in a random order, coming up in the next couple days. One in November, one in December, probably one on New Year's Eve. But just a little something we can do to give back, to stoke people out. And I can tell you, without exception, every person who's been awarded one of these comes back with they're super appreciative, awesome stories. Getting photos of what they've done with that $1,000 gift card, how it's helped them build their bike, how it's helped them realize a dream. And it's great. It makes me feel good. It's super fun to do. It pumps people up. And I don't know, it's just fun. I don't know of anyone else who's done something like that. And so we're always trying to just have fun and do exciting things, do new stuff. And
Well,
I think that fit the bill. And for me, for 20 years in at Lowbrow, that I don't know. It feels like a good fitting thing to do.
I love it because that amount can
Yeah.
really make or break somebody's dream motorcycle, and it can
Is
just
that
put
Renee?
them over the edge. So I love that, and that reminds me, Chris,
Agreed.
you better get your parts list
I
together
don't-
so we can get your order in.
There's too many things
You
going
have a
on at one
project
time.
going on right now.
I do have a panhead project. You'll see my orders coming in shortly. Mark, I don't believe that is Renee. I can put the picture
it?
back up.
No, I
No,
that
I
is
don't
Renee.
think so.
What? No?
It looks like
No,
him, but it's
it's
not.
Oh no,
It does,
that's
yeah.
that's Jose. Jose, I met on the Salt Flats. We were in line to race one morning, and he was crewing for I don't know the name of the team offhand, but it was a nitro burning race car team. They ended up setting a record at 2:08. I think the next day. But Jose, I was talking with him. He's got a Triumph. He's got a couple bikes. His daughter, who I think is 15 or 16, is building an Aramachi for Bonneville, a land speed bike. He's got a lowrider. Just talking with him, just super good dude. Customer, he actually stopped by the shop in Ohio when he was out in Ohio for work. He's an electrician, and it was like, man, I got something for you. He's just the right recipient, you know, just someone who is
right on,
just a doer, doing a bunch of cool shit. He's a family man. He's getting his daughters into motorcycles. He's out racing at Bonneville, crewing for a team. He's a super funny guy. And anyway, that's like I knew we would meet someone who would be the right person to award on the salt, and Jose was a good fit.
Go ahead, Heather.
I know Speed Week is a little bit different from BMST, which is where Chris and I go. Do you have the camaraderie on the salt at Speed Week that you find?
Yeah, I think so. So with Speed Week, because it's, say, I'm going to make up a number, but say it's roughly 500 entries and probably 400 of them are cars, but and the rest being motorcycles. But yeah, it's a great camaraderie. So I race vintage, you know, super old motorcycles, and so do other people, but there's not that many. But man, I get along with with car guys as well, but I get along with the guys who are racing, you know, twin turbo Hayabusas just as well as a guy who's racing an old Yamaha XS650. It's, you know, you might be running different speeds, but it's all relative. You know, a guy could be running a small displacement bike and running 100 miles an hour, but then you've got guys running, you know, 250 or 300 miles an hour. We're all doing the same thing, just slightly different speed. But yeah, I've gone so far to I've lent my personal leathers to a guy so he could run his bike, and I've had people bring their TIG welder in to impound and weld up things because I couldn't take my bike out once I qualified for record and I had a crack in my clip-on handlebar mount. Or you know, it goes all ways with cars and bikes. But people, I mean, I can't think of any exception. People are very down to help. If you're there at Bonneville, it's taken a ton of time, effort, organization. I generally find that everyone there is a unique person, and you know, it's a small community, just like choppers are, you know. So everyone's into that same thing, so you get a lot of support, kind of no matter what you're riding or driving.
I think too, like, you know, obviously the BMST that she's talking about is the Bubs event. You know, it started as the Bubs event, but I think even though that event came out of, like, everything came from original Speed Week, but I think that once you get out to Bonneville, once you're in Wendover and you realize, like, you're a million miles from anything. Like, if something goes bad, like you talk about people sharing welders and parts and food and everything else, because the town is a million miles from everything. And then
like it anyway.
You go another 10 miles out onto the salt and you're even further away from anything. So like you're literally, you have to rely on each other. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this year I actually, going back to where I said I make better decisions since I've had a couple accidents out there. And one, I shattered my arm at 120, high-sided, which I don't recommend. And then this other wreck I mentioned. But this year we're waiting in line for like a couple hours, and I was probably 5 people back from the line. I'm aiming to go qualify to break another record, and found Tim, my crew chief, found 2 cracks, one all the way through on a bracket that holds my seat that I sit on to the frame. It's basically just a metal pan. But in the past, I would have just freaking gone anyway and just been like, that'll be fine. But when I look at it and go, well, if that breaks all the way through, the seat's going to go into the fender, my tail section is going to flop back. This could cause me to wreck. And so I said, no, let's pull out a line, let's go find a TIG welder and weld this thing up. And that was like, in the past, I would have just gone for it and been the cowboy and said, fuck it, let's go. But I thought, you know what? Like, there's no rush, man. I don't want to end up in the hospital. Let's just fix this thing. But we spent hours looking for a TIG welder. Even in the town of Wendover, as far as we know, there's a TIG welder doesn't exist in that town, which is just kind of crazy to me to think that, you think you'd be able to find a TIG welder somewhere. Found a couple wire feed MIGs, And that was it. And eventually MIG welded those cracks up and went back out and, you know, ran a 147 or whatever I did that day. But you're out in the middle of the desert and there's some casinos there, but there's not a whole lot as far as support for mechanical and fabrication stuff. So yeah, you're on your own a lot more than bigger cities.
I think one year I needed a chain guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what little shitty like family hardware store or something we found, and they had,
wasn't it off like a lawnmower or something?
No, it was just aluminum channel that we found, and I was yeah, man, I found something I can actually make.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus,
all right.
It is crazy though.
So what you're saying is we need to bring tools to Bonneville.
Oh yeah.
Everything. Otherwise, you're going, you know, a little over 2 hours back to Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's next for Tyler?
And racing wise, getting back out next year, 2025, with that dual engine. And my goal before we built the bike, I wanted to do 160, and so I've done 157 on it. And so definitely breaking that 160 mark. And if I do that, there's 3 other records I can break with that bike that are between, it'd be like say 157 to 165. So I'm right in that range. So I'd really like to break those records. With lowbrow, you know, we're working on a bunch of new parts. I've actually been super heavy in product development lately, so I've got a lot of parts I'm really excited about. We work tightly with Gasbox, who's here in Cleveland. I'm sitting here in Akron where I live, which is half hour from Cleveland, but we just released big twin chopper frames, all made in Cleveland. We just got restocked up, just did a new production run, our like shotgun exhaust pipes made in Cleveland for EFI Sportsters. Got a ton of new stuff, narrow triple trees, custom tapered fork lowers, high mid controls for Sportsters, low mids for Sportsters. We've got a bunch of Softail and earlier Dyna stuff coming out. Basically just making cool chopper parts for bikes that are affordable. So like, Amen. We don't pay any attention to new stuff. You know, I don't care about this year's model. That's just not our thing. My newest bike is a freaking shovel head, you know, but making cool parts for bikes that people can get affordably. You know, you want a $5,000 90s Softail, and hey, here's some parts and here's what you can do to make it really freaking cool. Now you got a bitchin' bike and you did a bunch of work yourself and you don't have a big loan on it. You know, it's what we've always done, is attainable, really cool attainable stuff as far as designing and producing parts, but then also we're just going to be doing videos. Hey, here's what to look for in this used bike, and here's how you can in a couple weekends make it a cool custom. And we're tooling up and making gas tanks and fenders and all the parts for them. And like we were talking earlier, the reason we're good at it is because this is what we're doing personally, you know. So Mikey, who does our videography, just on Friday, he had Friday off, and he went and picked up a Softail that he's going to yank the motor out of to drop that big twin freaking Evo motor into one of our full frames and build a chopper out of it, you know. And he picked up I think it was like a 92 Softail for like $3,800, and sell off the rest of the parts, have nothing in it, and end up with a really bitchin' big twin chopper by the time he's done. So that's what we're into. What we're doing in the next few years is just making more chopper parts, making more cool stuff, and taking bikes that are not necessarily ignored, but it's definitely not what the industry's focused on. You know, everyone's focused on you know, just all the new stuff, and there's enough old bikes for us to stay busy for, I think, the rest of my life.
No, and I'll tell you what, it's a real resource too. You know, there's no reason for me to send faint praise to you, but seriously, when it comes to the stuff that I need all the time in my builds for, you know, whether it's sports or big twin, whatever we're building, it's so good. It's so good to have a one-stop shop like you guys, that we can get all the bungs and tabs and everything, and a little part here and there that, you know, it may be too obscure for other people to keep anymore, and you guys know that it's in need, so there it is on the site, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So why Triumph? You guys have a long history with Triumph being a really big part of everything that's come through Lowbrow. Where does that come from?
You know, my first motorcycle, my first street bike was a 1970 Bonneville. I just liked the way it looked. And That was a bitchin' bike. And like in my teens, I wasn't mechanical. I was technical. So I started lowbrow because I was good with computers, and I was into typography, hence the sign making, and taught myself to code HTML in the 90s. And so I was able to like make a website way back. And I wasn't mechanical, but I bought a Triumph. And then, a year later, I rebuilt the motor. And a year after that, I chopped it and put in a gooseneck frame with a foot clutch and a suicide shift and all this stuff, probably in like '02, maybe something like that. But it was my first bike, so I like Triumphs. And when it comes to racing, I build the engines for them, and it's because I can build Triumphs that break Harley records. So it's like an easy way to put it is, the records I'm going after are Vincent and dual engine Indian and big twin, Harley stuff like 80-inch flatheads and knuckleheads and stuff. So, my street bikes are Harleys, but mostly I've got a stock 65 Triumph too. But when it comes to racing, I can build a fast Triumph motor or two and couple them together and break Harley stuff. So I like my Harleys, but I like breaking Harley records with a Triumph. It amuses me.
So I have your pre-show, but tell us about Boris Murray and why he is one of your inspirations.
Sure. Yeah. Boris, I wish I got to meet Boris Murray. I think he just passed away in the last couple of years from what I heard, but he was just a bad motherfucker. So, he was running dual engine Triumphs down the drag strip, doing 170 some miles an hour in the quarter mile. There's a famous photo of him racing at Bowling Green in Ohio, like halfway down the track with his freaking front wheel off, just a trail of smoke behind him. He would just have that wheel off the ground, just all the way down the track. Yeah, there we go. Just insane, man. Just tough as nails. I look at that picture, like I had a big poster of that picture right there hanging up at Lowbrow at our last shop. And I built two dual engine bikes now. This is my second one. I built one back in 2010 or 11 and broke a few national records, but I don't know, man. Look at it. I think that's just about as cool as it gets, is how I feel. And I thought if guys were building dual engine Triumphs like on their barn floor in the 50s and 60s, why couldn't I build one in my home garage? And
dude, it's so crazy.
There's a magazine article out there. It's The Art of the Dragster by Boris Murray. I think it was an old Cycle World article in maybe like 1970. And he talks about the art of drag racing and a bit of technical info that I use when I built my bike. Just a couple little tips I gleaned out of there. But he just seemed, like I said, he was just stone cold. He was cool. He was
This makes so much sense to me. Seeing this cat here, I wish I could bring up while you're talking. I'm gonna bring up pictures of you like early on at Bonneville, because that picture even looks like your style, like your race position when you're racing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And my leathers actually are kind of similar to that, which it wasn't intentional, but mine are black with a white stripe down the side and white arms.
Well, you had said earlier in that too, building these bikes on the barn floors. Imagine the change in technology, like from back when he was building those to what you have, and he's still getting those times, and that was having some balls back then, dedication, and just sheer going for it.
Yeah. And he was running nitromethane, and which was new at the time, pretty new at that time, and that's cowboy shit, The amount of work, the technology that I put into my bike is like ridiculous in comparison to what they do as far as CAD modeling, and the amount of stuff I've got that was CNC'd, laser cut, and things that just didn't exist back then. And yeah, they were still, he was, I am not running as fast as he was, so, but anyway, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to take anything away from you, though. That's for sure. I'll tell you.
No,
yeah, it's a fun hobby.
Like even looking at the twin engine motorcycle that you're setting records on right now, that's a tiny motorcycle. Even with two motors, it's a little tiny motorcycle you're on. Like it's that's a little intimidating, man. Being that close to the ground, going that fast, that's crazy shit.
Yeah, it's 430 pounds, and when it's on the ground, it's not even to my mid thigh at the highest point. It's pretty small bike, and you can't tell to the viewers out there, but I'm 6.5 feet tall, so I'm 220 pounds and 6'5" and change. So I'm a big person to be riding land speed, racing bikes and things. Really a smaller rider would probably do better, but I build land speed bikes so I can ride them. So,
right.
For the fun of it. So it is what it is.
So you also said in the questionnaire we sent you about pre-show that the pilot of the Gyronaut X1 was another one of your big inspirations.
Yeah. Bob LePan. And Bob LePan, I got to meet him in 2013 at Bonneville. He was a pilot of the Gyronaut X1. He, was the world's fastest motorcycle for 3 or 4 years, late 60s, early 70s. He ended up crashing that thing, I don't know, doing 245 or something crazy like that. Yeah. But I had my first dual engine bike in impound. I set like a few records in 2013 with it, and he was there with the restored Gyronaut X1.
Oh, no kidding.
And I got to meet him, and then I showed him my bike, and then got to spend a few hours with him, and it was great. He really looked over my bike and gave me got a lot of feedback. And I got to sit in the Gyronaut X1 and hear stories from him, about racing it over the years. And I still have I have aspirations to build a streamliner, which is that fully enclosed, basically just like a rocket with 2 wheels. But we'll see. I've got some basic CAD plans and things laid out for it, but with the streamlining that offers, that's 200 mile an hour plus stuff. And I can say at this point that there's not been a vintage class 200 mile an hour record since there's been a vintage class. And that might change soon with my buddy Elp on his Vincent, but it would be pretty amazing to break 200 miles an hour in a vintage class and get a red 200 mile an hour cap at Bonneville. So that's where it gets really interesting, thinking about my dual engines and dropping them into a streamliner chassis, or potentially a big inch Harley motor or something could be for vintage to be running like a panhead or something in there, and see what we could do. But that's all just dreams for now.
Conjecture.
Right. But I feel like you're the type of person that you have the determination and the mindset and the drive that if you decide that's what you're going to do, you will find a way to do it.
Yeah. And so the way I think about it, or at least I think the way I frame things in my own brain, is like I don't ever fail. But that's not true, because I fail at things all the time. But it's just that I don't give up. Like I haven't succeeded yet, so but I'll just keep at it. So I'm a pretty driven person. So I'm also very positive, so I don't get discouraged easily. I always see the silver lining. And so when it comes to things like, you have to be tenacious with things like land speed, because it's frustrating at times. It's hard. It's why they're national and world records. But if there's something I want to do, I go for it. I don't fuck around. And even if it's every day, it's one step, one little thing I can do every single day. Next thing you know, you're at your goal. Or maybe it's 20 years later, but eventually you'll get there.
Dude, I love that you said that. I love it. I so get that.
The truth hurts.
Mark, how many times have I said to you, it's just one more door, just one more door.
One more.
Yeah.
We get through this next door, man. That's it.
No, the secret is to put your head down and work hard and do it every goddamn day. There's no secret,
No, that's awesome. And I appreciate being able to share that with everybody, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that think that, one day you put up a website and you got a winning lottery ticket, and there's nothing more. God, let's even talk about the fact that I can't remember. We do the events on this program. We do events through the magazine and stuff. I can't remember the last time I saw anything that was like a culture-based custom motorcycle event that didn't have your logo on it. Somehow you were supporting those events. doing stuff like that and going out of your way to celebrate your anniversary by giving back to the community and reaching out and like making it a celebration for everybody. That's the kind of thing that I'm saying that makes the motorcycle deal impervious to so much of the outside world.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I think in my 20 years experience, it's like the motorcycle scene is pretty impervious to what's going on in the outside world. And I think that's just because motorcycle enthusiasts tend to be so passionate. And, hey, when things are bad in the outside world, they're still finding the time and energy to put some time into their passion, whether it's building bikes or riding them or whatever. Yeah. And also supporting kindred spirits, the people who are into the same things.
Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, we appreciate you over here. We appreciate not just for the availability of parts when we're building our projects, but everything you're doing to keep everybody excited about motorcycles. Because that's really, we all talk about how do we get the next generation involved? How do we make our community bigger? That, love what you do and show other people that you're doing it. You're the embodiment of that. So congratulations.
Well, thanks. And, it goes right back to you guys, because since I've been doing this and you've been doing this too, so I see you and Heather everywhere. You've been working hard. Same thing, just bolstering the motorcycle community, doing a ton of stuff. So I appreciate the kind words, but same goes back to you.
Yes, sir. Well, Heather, I'm sure you're going to put up all the links, but you can tell everybody, go check them out at their Facebook page, the YouTube. You are going to want to sign up for YouTube. If you are not yet a subscriber to their YouTube page, you want to be, because it is nonstop entertainment information. You can learn how to build things. You can learn, where to go, what to do. Catch them over at their website, for sure. Sign up to get alerts about their Instagram and everything. Keep in touch with Lowbrow. Trust me, it'll make your life better like it does mine. Chopper improvement. All right, man. Well, listen,
Tyler,
thank you
for taking your Sunday night with us. I know you're on dad duty tonight, so we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Anytime. We'd love to have you back anytime. Anytime you have anything special going on or something you want to share, you have a platform. I know you guys have a great platform, but we'd love to share it with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks,
yes,
Tyler.
sir. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
See you, Tyler.
All right, you guys, you're watching Shop Talk here on the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio Network. What a killer interview. Glad to be sharing that with you on this Sunday night. We got more. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Shop Talk. We're going to take a look at a pretty interesting cat that we ran into that's not only a Hoka rider now, but coming up shortly, he is about to try to ride 125,000 miles in 125 days. Check it out. Don't go anywhere.
My
You're
butt
watching
hurts
Shop
just
Talk.
thinking about it.
On Location is brought to you by Clockworks. Clockworks, it's your ride. You decide.
17 years old, I went in the Navy. I was a kid. Mom lived in Jersey. I went to boot camp, and then I got stationed out in San Francisco. And, 17 years old, first time away from home, I was homesick. So every other weekend I had off when I didn't have duty. I'd hop on my motorcycle on Thursday night. I'd ride home to Jersey to see Mom for about 6 hours. And I'd ride back to San Francisco for morning muster on Monday, which would accumulate some, 170, 180,000 mile years. So this is a 21 Indian Challenger that I made into a Pursuit. I put the paint to match lowers. I do have a paint to match trunk on it. I run an infrared camera, the Pathfinder 2 infrared. I have a front and rear dash cam. I have the XP3 Hornet deer whistle. My Arctic jugs for water. And my Thirsty Rock hydration pack. It's an insulated tank bag so I can keep my snacks in there and they don't all melt. That is my Hoka rider number. Every rider gets a number. I first rode the Hoka Challenge in 2020. This was my third one. I rode 22 and tied second place with my nephew. I am hoping next year to get out. It's going to be a fundraising ride for myotonic muscular dystrophy. Doing on an Indian, do 125,000 miles in 125 days on their 125th year. on a 2025 Indian Pursuit. A Hoka hay rider named Chris Hopper, riding on a Harley Davidson Road Glide, left out of Texas, rode 100,000 miles in 100 days, and raised over $100,000 for Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. Myotonic muscular dystrophy doesn't hit until you're older, typically in your 30s and 40s. Typically men, from what I understand, but my wife's 4 sisters and all of her nieces have it. I do have a Venmo. I have a PayPal. It is going to be on Facebook. Patrick Cornell will be accepting donations. We're going to have a donation page set up right through Muscular Dystrophy Association, so people can make direct donations. We're going to get our QR codes and get our cards printed out, and we'll start handing them out.
Whether riding takes you from A to B or just lets you escape, there's a flow to the road you share. So go with it. Eyes open. And always have the Law Tigers by your side. If you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, visit us at lawtigers.com. Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers.
I'm Brian Clock from Clockworks in Mitchell, South Dakota, and you're watching Shop Talk.
We're ready to race. What's your strategy? Go fast.
The Fueling name has been associated with racing and high-performance engines since 1974. When founder Jim Fueling started fueling the flames. From Daytona to Monaco, from the Bonneville Salt Flats to the Indy 500. Fueling is here to compete. Look for the Flying Pig to run up front this year with pilot Ben Boschman. Fueling. No bullshit, just performance.
Focus is brought to you by Garage Build. Submit your build, share your passion. Powered by Dennis Kirk.
My name is Eric Puglia from North Reading, Massachusetts, and paint company's Puglia Custom Design. It's a frame-up hardtail, it's a Tinworks frame, SNS 112, and a Baker 6-speed. Raw Jade affiliated wheels, and I did the paint, and my dad built the bike. Brandon Long built the gas tank and the exhaust pipe, and a few other pieces. Me and my dad kind of wanted to build a rigid chopper that we could actually ride and, you know, not kickstart, and big power, big brakes. You know, when you could actually go rip some roads on and not just bar hop on. Yeah, so I just kind of always liked filigree, and I stamped those thin sheets of aluminum into the tank and the neck gusset, and then on the top of the tank, flames and filigree are my 2 favorite things, so I combined them and had them weave in and out of each other. And so filigree and gold leaf on the tank and the oil tank and underneath the gas tank and throughout the bike. Ride at 16 on the street. Been on dirt bikes since I was like 4 years old. My dad's been building bikes and messing around with them in the garage since before I was born, so I just kind of grew up around it and took a liking to it, and we've been riding together ever since. My first bike was a 1987 Softail that he had built in the 90s when I was little, and he gave that to me when I was 16. I like to mix a little bit of everything. Like I said, I come from dirt bikes. You know, I'm watching my dad and all these older guys build bikes. I always just I liked it, and I pretty much taught myself how to paint. I was always drawing in school, and kind of mixed my drawing passion with motorcycles and started painting them, and I just like messing with stuff. I was always cutting my bicycles up and changing forks and tires, and when I was a little kid, and just kind of grew up into bigger toys. My name's Eric Puglia from North Reading, Massachusetts, and you're watching Grease and Gears TV.
All right, welcome back to the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio, and yeah, we crashed the show tonight.
But hey, like, before you go too far, I cannot believe you left out the most important part of Patrick Cornell's interview.
What?
So Mark, we're talking to this guy, and his thing is he's a long distance rider, and he's married, and his wife works from home. And we're like, how do you spend so much time away from home riding? He says, well, this is what I do. He says, I spend a few days at home putting things away in the wrong spot. He says, so my wife finally just says, I think it's time for you to hit the road.
And I'm off.
And he's like, oh, okay, honey. And he's already gone. He's got a bag packed and he's ready to split. It was...
He already packed on the bike waiting to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He says, I just spend a few days putting things away in the wrong places or breaking things. And
so whatever the hell it was that knocked us off earlier, I do apologize. But, you know, shit happens.
They found us.
The thing is, like, do you ever stop, like the two of you, do you ever stop, 289 shows into this and think about the amount of people and places we've like shared on this show, and the stuff that, like, I feel bad sometimes because we get to do all of this stuff. Like it's such a blessing, right?
So cool. Yeah, no, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate.
We are.
And the whole time with Tyler, I'm thinking, I remember the first time they ever set up somewhere, and it was like these little tables and. And look where they've come.
Oh,
and,
dude, they were
absolutely
kids. They were absolutely kids.
Yep.
He says he's 44 now. Was 24 when they started Lowbrow. God.
29 when he went full time. That's impressive. It really is.
Yeah,
and you
nuts.
can tell that. I mean, he's made an incredible business out of it. But just by the way they handle their business. They love motorcycles.
Yeah.
And everybody there, like, he's got such a great team. Like Mikey Revolt and Jeff, those are the two
cool
that I know the best. I adore them both. They're such great guys.
Yeah, Mikey's got a great eye. He's got a great passion himself too. But the fact that 20 years into this and they haven't lost that passion, they haven't lost the ability or the realization to know that the community thrives when they thrive, when they bring everybody together, when they celebrate by giving to the community and keeping people excited. Like that's what it takes, man.
And you have to be honest though too, because you know just as well as I do, it is not all sunshine and roses. And there are days, I guarantee there's days where Tyler's chucked something across the room and been like, why do I do this? And then he'll get that message, or he'll get that one person that was like, man, look what I made with this part you guys had. And that moment right there is that's why I do it.
Absolutely. Chris Hicks checking in from Minnesota. Big D's in the house with us. A lot of good people tonight. This was a killer show, man.
It was an awesome show.
It really was. We, normally we end the show off with events, but we don't really have anything to talk about.
Where we're going to be next weekend. Hey, if all y'all are in or around Texas, I fully expect all y'all. To see you in Galveston for our closing shows of the year. Bike games are on Friday. Bike show on Saturday. There's some money, some trophies. Show them the trophy again.
I got to get back to it. Hang on.
You got the trophy in your hand, dude. Come on.
So we made special trophies. If you weren't on the show earlier, because if you do anything worth a shit in Texas, you get a saddle. So the winners of our bike show and our bike games this year
are gonna get
these great saddle trophies. Yeah.
Best of Show.
At least
hits
you don't have the little
big
horse
saddle.
to go with it.
Well, we had a little horse, but
Yeah.
Wow. I'm a little horse.
So the
Hey,
Best
Craig
of Show,
Glab's
we
here.
ordered a bigger saddle for the Best of Show, not realizing that it was big enough for Nugget.
dude,
Oh,
seriously, we put it on Nugget today. Which was awesome. If I would have
Great.
only had a little monkey.
Yeah. Yeah, that would actually been a pretty good picture.
Hey, that's a good
Wow.
idea. Maybe on our way home, we could do Fort Worth Stockyards as a destination.
Oh, I thought she was going to say get a monkey.
Well, I mean, that could.
Nitty gritty Chopper City. Look at her with them big old titties. Come on, Heather, just once. That's not me. That's Monkey. I'm just saying.
Oh, boy.
Nitty gritty.
Chopper City. Look at her with them big old titties.
I'm not going to say
Hell.
that
Say
part.
it. Say titties. Say it.
Say it.
Monkey, your participation trophy was amazing. You knock it off. You got a handwritten note from Christopher.
Oh,
That's
please let that
amazing.
go. It was a joke.
It was awesome.
And can I just say this one time?
He's going to have that thing
As
laminated.
God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Inside joke.
You
Inside
need
joke.
that shirt out there.
Hey, Mama.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Right on.
Well,
Oh, so good.
So it's been a great show. Thank you guys for inviting us into your headspace for a little bit and making us part of your week. It's absolutely our pleasure to do this show every week, Sundays at 9 p.m. on the East Coast. But you can help us, help you, help us, help you. We can do more of this stuff if you hit the like and share button. Make sure you share the links. Make sure you let your friends and neighbors know
Hey,
when we
do
go
me a
live
favor.
with
all-
Shop Talk.
All y'all.
Hey,
I want them to go to our YouTube
See,
page and
here.
watch Destinations and tell me what they thought of it.
So yeah, at the beginning of the show, we told you guys about the fact that we shared Destinations on YouTube. It's a brand new series that's on Grease and Gears TV. What's that, you say? What's that? Grease and Gears TV is Netflix for motorcycle people, and you can watch the Jack Daniels Destination there. You can also go check it out on our YouTube page. We decided to let it go up on YouTube for free so that people that have been hearing us talk about this Grease and Gears TV thing can see a little bit about what we're doing. We're actually developing unique programming specifically for motorcycle people on our channel. You can watch it on your Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Android TV, the whole deal. So check it out today.
It doesn't suck.
Heather?
That's
Heather?
me.
whichever way.
Whichever. Are we done?
We are
We're
done.
going to bring this into the
That's it.
station. Thank you so much, Tiger.
It's about all we can do tonight. We've done all the damage here.
We've broken Tyler broke the internet.
Right.
We didn't break it. Tyler broke it.
Right on, man. Well, listen, there's still enough time left to get those fall rides in. We took a nice one last week. We're going to have some video coming out from that. Plenty of time for you guys to get somewhere and do something on your motorcycle till a lot of the country has to put them away for the winter until next time.
Wait a minute. I have to answer XAN bikers.
You're killing me, man.
No, we're going to be live from our truck.
Yes.
We're
Yeah,
going to
we'll
do an On the Road with Chris and Heather next week because we're going to be coming home from Texas.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
And we do have a special over this winter. We're going to be doing a live show from an entire other country.
Oh, yeah. That's so
way,
exciting.
way far away.
Very far away, like
But we can't let the
a
details get out
bazillion
yet.
miles away. Not quite a bazillion, but half a bazillion.
Mark, are you done?
I think he's
I don't
already
even
asleep.
care. I've been sleeping for 20 minutes.
All right. Matt Smith, good to see you here. Good to see all you guys,
Just
man.
in time
Listen,
to say goodnight.
thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday when we come back. Same chopper time.
Same Chopper channel.
Get your Halloween suit out there, Felicia.